Hey guys, it's Kriss from Holdan here, and today we're going to be talking the past, the present, and what the future might hold for BirdDog, because today I'm joined by co-founder and CEO of BirdDog, Dan Miall. So firstly, Dan, thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
Thanks very much for having me. I'm glad to be on this show. And Chris, always happy to talk to you.
So first things first, I think maybe what would be a good place to start is one to recognise that BirdDog have gone through quite a lot of change over the past 18 months, maybe 2 years. It'd be really good to get your view, your take on what that journey has been, really kind of summarise the key milestones.
Yeah, sure. And you're right. It has been a substantial change over the last 18 months. I suppose, actually, in a lot of ways, it's not particularly surprising. Like, BirdDog has been a company built on innovation and trying to push things as far as we possibly can from a technology point of view and also from workflows and what can be done with the products that are available. And so, really, over the last 18 months, we've had a few ups and downs, but the net result is us in that constant pursuit of trying to make things better in terms of workflow, trying to innovate in terms of products and change the way things get done. Yeah, whilst the catalyst, I suppose, for some of these changes has been out of necessity, we've had to build up on some of the quality of our products. We've had to add additional features to make our products more relevant for certain workflows. And of course, we've had some challenges around some of our supply chains. But what that's left us being able to do is actually make the choices for how we want to reinvent what those products are. So our next generation of products that we've been really building over the last 12 months and even 18 months is really us taking a sheet of paper and saying, look, we had a great job with our first lot of products and they were really innovative. Rather than just iterating for the next version of products, we've actually been able to take all of that knowledge and do it all again in terms of how can we make these better? How can we make them look nicer? How can we add additional features? But more importantly, how can we make them work better for people? And so that's really been the undertone of what we've done. Obviously, the thing that you can see mostly is the new cameras that we've released, but actually it's been a whole of company change. So everything from the way our engineers work to the way our marketing team works to the way we actually build the products and how we support them has all been looked at. And so, yeah, whilst we've got a shiny new face with these great new tally lights and everything on our new cameras, behind that, there's a huge amount of stuff that we've been working on. So it's been a really exciting period. And I think now, as we're starting to release these products, and we're only a little bit of the way through that, it's really starting to show what we've been up to.
Okay, so this year we've had the X1, the X1 Ultra, the Mackeys, we had the X4 and the X5. So a complete new generation of cameras, as you say. What have been the benefits that you guys have seen in comparison to the older gen, the P series?
Yeah, it's been quite a year, right? Any normal year being able to release five cameras in 1 year is a pretty big deal. And so for us, I think probably the big things that the real milestones we're trying to reach are about performance and what you can do for a price point. So our new cameras start with the X1 at $1,000 US. So they're a relatively affordable camera, but that belies the features that are underneath that in terms of its functionality. All of our cameras are always built around being able to do broadcast quality and really high-end productions. So having price points that have amazing features is one part of it, but actually having a reliability kind of built into them. And something that's a really interesting stat is these next generation products have got a huge amount more reliability built into the way we've actually designed the products. So everything from the physical side of things built upwards. They're much more simple in the way they're constructed, which means that they're much more reliable in terms of when they're used in production, where things tend to get thrown around and don't potentially get looked after as well as you'd like them. They're proven to be a really robust set of products. So for us, that's been a really great move. And there's also been a move across a lot of our products to the NDI HX3 format. And that's been a great journey where we've been able to prove that new technology does actually give you better outputs, even though in this case, NDI HX3 has a little bit of skepticism in terms of how the picture quality might look because the bandwidth requirements are so much less than the full NDI. But what we've been able to prove is actually with these new generation products and the way we've sprinkled our BirdDog engineering onto it, we've actually been able to get the same performance in terms of the latency that they can produce, but also the picture quality, but running that over NDI HX3. So we've had some really good wins in terms of reliability, performance, but also that price point as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the HX3 because I think if I look back to the older days of BirdDog, let's say, your whole identity really was about full bandwidth NDI. If you wanted full bandwidth NDI, these
Yep.
guys are the pioneers. Every product that they've got supports it. And then obviously with this new generation of products, we've seen that shift to NDI HX3. Can you give us a bit more of the rationale for that? Because like you say, there is some skepticism out there, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is diminishing with the likes of you guys obviously adopting it. People get confidence when they see vendors and brands, widening their ecosystem to support it. But really, what was the deciding factor for you guys to go down that route?
Yeah, look, it wasn't taken in a lighthearted way. It was actually a very conscious decision that we made to move this way. And for the record, it doesn't mean that we've entirely moved away from full NDI. The concept here and the idea here is that NDI needs to be far more unified. It should matter less and less whether it's full NDI or NDI HX3. The promise of what we want NDI to be seen as is the performance that you get, the ease of how it works on a network, and the interoperability. So we've been working really hard with all of our products to make sure they all work together. In terms of working with NDI HX3 specifically on the cameras, what it allowed us to do is actually do some really cool things, which is, with our cameras, we now have the ability to decode video on them as well. So you can add in confidence monitors or teleprompters, all sorts of video feeds can be sent back to your camera, which makes it a far more flexible solution. And so having NDI HX3 meant that there was a bit less load on the network for us to do that. And then, of course, some of our cameras, like the X1s and the X4s, have Wi-Fi as well. And we simply couldn't do that with NDI in its full format. But the reality is what we were firstly looking at is to make sure that if we went down this path, that the picture quality wouldn't suffer and the performance was at least as good as the previous generation. And in our benchmarking tests, we've actually seen that our new generation cameras are lower latency than the older generation cameras. So that stigma around NDI HX not being as fast is completely broken in terms of what we've been able to deliver. So we're really proud of what we've been able to do with that format. It's a bit like anything, really, I suppose. The format's only part of it. It's then what the individual companies do with that. And so for us, we've been taking our time and waiting for the right time to move to NDI HX, and that time's now. And that's why this generation of cameras has got a lot of NDI HX3. But don't say for a moment that we've completely left full NDI behind. We definitely have some plans with that. Our converters and our other products that we have in our lineup are very much still supporting that. And you might even see some new products moving forward on the camera side that does both NDI in HX and full NDI.
Okay, well, we'll come back to that in a second, but just to stay on the topic of HX3, am I right in saying that different brands out there implement HX3 slightly differently? They're not all the same, and that you guys obviously have a little bit of technology in the background that sets you apart. It'd be good to elaborate on that and get some insights as to what that means.
Sure, Chris. So the way we worked originally, so with our first generation of BirdDog products and all of our products that do full NDI, we developed our own NDI compression from the ground up. So any other product that you see out there that supports NDI uses what's known as the reference implementation of NDI. So our full NDI products were using the BirdDog implementation, which was always lower latency, and it allowed us to do some really cool things like our quad device that can do 4 channels of NDI in a really small device. So that kind of underpins what we do in terms of we don't just take a reference design and put it on a chip and say, here we go, we've got a product. We actually develop and do more with that. And we've done that same thing with NDI HX. So with HX3, it gave us the ability to really fine tune how the compression works and add our network capabilities as well to really lower the latency as much as possible, but not at the cost of image quality. So to answer your question more specifically, NDI HX3 is not the same as NDI HX3 on any other brand of camera. It's all up to the interpretation of that manufacturer and how much they want to spend in terms of time and effort to optimize and make it suitable exactly for the hardware they're building. And so that's why we took our time to build these products, and that's why we're seeing the performance we got.
Okay, great. And just to tee this off, really, I want to take a look at what this year might bring. And what the future kind of looks for BirdDog. So you've already mentioned that you're not going to leave full bandwidth NDI, and you've got some converters that are coming down the line. Can you give us a flavour without obviously sharing all your secrets? Because I'm sure you can share absolutely everything.
I've already given away probably a little too much. So I might step back or dance around a little bit on this. But the reality is with us, we've always been about making workflow solutions. So from our point of view, we've never considered ourselves a camera manufacturer in isolation. We've never considered ourselves a converter manufacturer in isolation, nor a hardware manufacturer for that case. We make solutions, which includes all of our software and our tools that work together. So there's still some things in that workflow that we'd love to upgrade, and we're working really hard on. I guess we're a public company, so there's some things that we need to disclose in that part of things. So if you were to dig enough on the internet, you'd probably find out that we actually have a bunch of new products. In fact, every month for the next 6 months, there's new products that are being released, which is pretty exciting. And that covers not only cameras. We've obviously got those 5 new cameras that we released this year, but we've also got other things that include the converters and, of course, the control and operating systems and workflows that we've got. So for us, next year is really very much about joining all of that together and making it really applicable for solutions that people might need, whether that's in AV type installations with a lot of integration, or whether that's in broadcast productions or high-end productions where you need really high-end image quality. We've got a bunch of things that join all of that together. So as far as we're concerned, we're kind of calling it BirdDog 2.0, this next generation of products. And that's only just getting started. Next year is going to be every bit as exciting, if not more, with the new releases that we've got coming.
It sounds like you've got an incredibly busy year to come, even though this year has also been incredibly busy as well. But yeah, super excited to see those new products. And I think we'll leave it at that, Dan. So I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. Really appreciate it. And guys, if you've got any questions whatsoever about anything that we've discussed here, then do just get in touch with us here at Holdan, sales@holdan.co.uk. And if you were already a BirdDog customer and you're not already part of the online community, I really recommend that you join the Facebook BirdDog user group, because if you've got any questions, post on there. It's a really active community, and also the likes of Dan and his team are very active on there and will reply to you directly. So if you want to go right to the top dog, pardon the pun, then you'll find Dan there.
Yep, happy for anyone to be involved. So.
Lovely. Thank you for watching, guys. Really appreciate it.